Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Annie from Bloom. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't done so already and would like to, please consider subscribing to my channel where I will teach you everything you need to know about how to block print from home. In the last video I did, video 3, I talked about how to make a custom color using a petal that we found in the garden as a reference. But in this video, I just wanted to go over color in a little bit more detail and talk about the primary colors, secondary colors, how to make tints and tones. I think that this would just be a helpful guide to sort of give you some ideas as to how to make your own color palettes fairly easily. So let's get started. Okay, let's talk about color. Let's start up here at the top with primary colors. So there are 3 primary colors, and they are red, yellow, and blue. And from these primary colors, you can make a plethora of other colors. And so when you mix these colors together, so for example, when you mix a red with a yellow or a yellow with a blue, or a red with a blue, you make what's called secondary colors. And I have an example of that right down here. So you can see that red and yellow together make orange, yellow and blue make green, red and blue make purple. Those are the secondary colors. When you start to lighten up a color or sadden a color, darken a color, that's when you start to get into tints and shades. So a tint is a color, a primary color, or just a color in general, that is mixed with white. That makes a tint. So pastel colors are actually tints. So here you can see what it looks like when I mix a red with a white. And depending on how much white you add or how little you add, you get different tints. So this is just an example. Obviously this color here has a little bit, this red has a little less white in it. This one has a little more white in it. So you can once again get a very wide range of color depending on how much white you add. So these are the tints here. This is a yellow tint. This is yellow with white. This is a blue tint. This is blue with white. Then we move down into the shades. So a shade, when someone says, oh, this is a shade of green, what that means is it is a color that is mixed with a little bit of black. So here we have a red shade. So this is the red that's mixed with some black. And once again, depending on how much black you add, that will determine the shades. You can get a wide range of shades. So this is a yellow shade and this is a blue shade. And there's obviously a lot of black in that blue because it's very, very dark. The interesting thing about yellow, if you notice that when you add black to yellow, it turns it to a green. It moves it to sort of towards the green spectrum. And you can see that right here. Then we have something called tones. Now, a tone is a color that is mixed with a gray or mixed with both black and white, because when you mix black and white together, you get gray. And when you mix that gray with a color, you get a tone. So this is a red tone, and you can see it's kind of, it's a bit darker than the tint. I like to think of tones as kind of more Victorian-like colors. I really like tones a lot. So this is a red tone, this is a yellow tone, and this is a blue tone. So the colors are just a little bit sadder, but they're also a little bit more on the pastel range. They lean a little bit lighter because you have that white. And then the last but not least, you have tertiary colors or intermediate colors. Now what is that? That is when you start to get into sort of a wider range of color. So just a basic definition of what these colors are is it's a primary color mixed with a secondary color. So remember, our primary colors are red, yellow, and blue, and our secondary colors are orange, green, and purple. And when you mix a primary with a secondary, so here I have blue mixed with green, you get a tertiary. So here we get a blue-green, or otherwise known as an aqua or a turquoise. And once again, depending on how much blue you add to the secondary color, you can, get a wide range of blue-greens. And then of course you could add a little bit of white to that to make it a tint. You could add a little bit of black to it or gray to make it a shade or a tone. So this is just a very, very basic layout of how to make colors and how to get them to lean in a certain direction. So if you like a brighter, lighter color, then I would say, you know, go the tint route. But if it still feels a little bit too bright, consider adding in a touch of black, which will sadden it just a little bit and give you more of a tone. So I hope this reference is helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below or email me. And we will see you next time.